Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Wednesday morning dose of BTC and Forex updates. Last night was a pretty good stream, so I hope everyone did tune in, did join us last night. We did speak about a lot of the majors, or a lot of the major pairs in the crypto and the Forex space. And interestingly enough, what we discussed last night did played out very nicely, to be honest, especially with BTC. And I'll put the right header on there for you. There we go. So with BTC last night, we were really butting up against this level of supply here. Not quite there yet, but we were there last night. Yeah, we were there. On that red candle, and we were, making ways inside this and eating this level up. And we did mention last night that this level in particular was of low quality. So the difference being high quality, low quality supply zones and demand zones, where high quality would be an example of the one that we see right up top here, and low quality would be an example of the supply that we see here, which is like in the middle of a trend, or in the middle, like a pause or a break in the market. And then we've got a significant pivot point up the top here where we got rejected at 12.3. What we did mention last night, however, was the psychological level of 12,000. So we were sitting at, around that 11.9, 11.915, 11.940 last night. And we did say 12,000 would be on the cards, and that would be a psychological level to look out for. And we left the fibs in there, so we drew obviously fibs, and we left it in there to get our extension level of 127.2, which in turn, if we just draw that across a little bit, we see, and I'll get rid of this one for the moment, we see that there is a significant amount of liquidity sitting at this level of that fib 127 level just to the left. So we've got the rejection from the 2nd of August. We've also got the push and rejection on the 10th of August. And now we're looking at that same scenario again. If we reject here and continue down the fib levels, we'll have a third rejection on the 2nd of September, which is today. So what I really want to discuss is, if this was the top, if this was the end of this move, where we see that swing low to swing high from the 28th of August to today. So this would be the trade really from demand down the bottom here at 11.2, where we had that double bottom scenario, that dual, that wick down, and that very quickly buy up from that level. And then the trade would be from, to supply, or to these areas that we see where there was multiple levels of supplies on the way down, really just low quality stuff. Right now, this level that I'm seeing here this 11.9 to 12,000 supply has been broken and destroyed, and we've eaten most of the liquidity at that level in particular. However, we do have this significant resistance running across this 127 fib extension point where we've been rejected multiple times. And there was a pretty harsh rejection off this level, to be honest with you. We've had the tweezer top, we've had the preceding candle, we did wick up and then get rejected immediately off that. And now we're sitting at around this 11.9 again, just under that psychological 12. If I had to say anything, there's a real possibility that we will continue to the upside. I'll be honest, with all the bits and pieces that are happening in the economic climate at the moment. This trend line is going to be very interesting. I've left that in there to signify maybe a retest of that level, where we did retest after the break on the 22nd of August, and we did see the retest on the 24th. So that trend line is somewhat relevant, so I've left it in there. But the actual level, the 1 day swing supply level would be at that 12.3. All right, so if we do continue this run to the upside, that's where I would put BTC at that 12,300 level in the mid to longer term over the next week or so. Maybe by next Tuesday we'll have that answer. However, right now, looking at this fib extension, this 127 and this significant resistance, we are seeing steamroller quite overbought now. We are seeing some exhaustion, or this double top scenario on the CCI, and our RSI has just touched that 70 level and been rejected also. So there is a great possibility, and I'll be completely honest, that we could retrace down to this 100 fib level at 11,850 thereabouts, where we have some significant resistance to the left hand side, or liquidity to the left hand side, for an immediate hold up or bounce. But it really looks like this steamroller action here is going to start twisting down. We might have even more downage or even more retracement for this. To be honest, this run from 11.3 to about 12 has been quite significant, to be honest, with this on the 4 hour time frame. If you look at that just on its own, and if I get rid of this fib level and draw the fibs from swing low to high, we can see that that same fib level that I was just describing, that 100 fib level, is pretty much on par with that 23. And then we see the 38, the 50. There's a lot of structure there to hold the price up, which is good for BTC in all honesty, which is good. So we could have some scenario like that, even a scenario like that where the 38 is a little bit more respected, as we already know. Previously to, if we're looking at bull markets in general, BTC in general, when we see some decent upside momentum, we always usually pull back to the 38 before making a high decision or a genuine decision on which direction we're going to take. This 38.2 is probably going to be very, very interesting if we do pull back and satisfy these indicators for another potential rise. But that's what I'd be looking for short term for BTC. I'd be looking for this to really cool off after two decent moves. So two decent green candles we've had, from 11.6 to 11.9, and then from 11.9 to 12. I'd be looking for some even movements back down to that 11.7 or even that 11.8 level, at that 11.850 at the 23, to really cool these off and make our decision based on that. If you zoom out to the daily, however, if we look at the daily, the macro really side of things, it paints a little bit of a different picture. Okay, where we could be forming, I know it's a very, very skewed, but we could be forming that head and shoulders formation, where that 12 could have been that right shoulder. If we see, it's a very, very skewed head and shoulders, I must admit, but it is there. So that's also something to consider if we're looking on a daily time frame. Why I look at the 4 hour to begin with is because there's plenty of trades in between. There's plenty of trades in between, 12,000 and 11.2. then there's also that that possibility of that head and shoulders on the daily. And also, like Ty said, during our Tuesday night sessions, we could be just ranging, could be bouncing around in this range for the next couple weeks until we make a break to either direction. Continuing on, we'll have a quick look at the DXY. Obviously, its movements overnight, and this is a regulated financial market. This is not financial advice, obviously, as our disclaimer says at the end of every video. So last night we were discussing the possibility, or the respected supply level at 91.76, which also ties into that 127 extension that we just spoke about on BTC also. And really the move up to that 78.6, like we did describe, we very much did describe this 78.6 liquidity level that we saw just on the left hand side here would be the next really big scenario for the DXY. Pending this respected 127 and demand level that we see on the DXY. So that played out nicely. If you were tuned in last night, that played out really nicely. From here, however, it looks like we do have quite a bit of steam, or quite a bit of momentum to push through this, and we could even see ourselves at this 6-1 level, where we see again a lot of decent liquidity just to the left hand side here. So that would be my pick for the DXY in over the next trading day, which would be obviously if you're in Melbourne, it would be tonight. Moving on to tomorrow, which is Wednesday, Thursday. So that would be the pick for the DXY in the immediate term, pending the break of the 78.6, which I don't think is going to be too difficult. Looking left, there isn't a whole lot of liquidity there that we can really get held up on. So that 61.8 and the 50, I would think, with this decent downtrend, would be the next area of interest for the DXY. But that concludes the morning updates. If you haven't already, check out the website, unitradinggroup.com, for all our indicators, professional premium, the trade journal, steamroller, of course. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe the video, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more updates like this. Have a great Wednesday, everyone, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for our live session with myself and Ty. Catch you then.